Okay, so next thing we want to look at is how to configure our menus. A lot of things you see on this site here is actually built in a menu. The contact and about right there is a menu. The my account and logout right there is a menu. The footer links at the bottom are menus, and that's where we're going to start. We want to add another link underneath security and privacy to include our policy page we created earlier. So to do that, you can see when you hover over it, a little cog appears with a drop-down arrow. Let's click that and let's click Edit Menu. And once we click on that, we're going to get a couple different configuration options. This one isn't as important, that's just the name of it, so it's the footer navigation. But if we click on the List Links tab, here's where we can see a bunch of information, and it's really actually pretty easy to read once you see it. So we see company information, all the links below it, service and the links below that, and so on and so forth. But we want to add one to the security and privacy section for our policy page. So to do that, we're going to click Add Link, and we're going to give it a title. This is what the link will look like to the end user. We call it Policy, and now we need to get the path. Well, we don't remember the path. So what we need to do is open up our contact page and find that policy page we made. So right there you see it. If we click Edit and you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, underneath the URL path settings, you'll be able to see right there it says that's the URL. It's just policy. So that's what we want to add. So we're going to add policy there. We want it to be enabled. We want it to appear in the footer navigation. As far as the rest of that goes, you don't really need to configure any more of this. You can give it a title text, which is basically when somebody hovers over it, what would show up. The rest of that, you don't necessarily need to worry about for this course. So we're going to click Save, and then what we'll see here is if we scroll to the bottom, policy is not located underneath anything, which is not what we want. We want it to be underneath security and privacy. So all we do is click on the 4 arrows and drag it up and push it in right there. So now it's going to go right below our security policy, and click Save Configuration. So now if we close this and go back to our home page, or our page, you scroll to the footer, you'll see now that the policy appears, and when we click on it, we'll load to our policy page. Well, now let's say we wanted to create a whole new page and add it to the contact and about menu items up there. Well, to do that, let's create a piece of content first. So we go to Content, Add Content, and let's create one, and we'll call it Notes. I don't know, it could be anything. We're just making this up as we go here, but so once we have a description added for the page, we can then go down and save this page. So once the page is saved, you can notice that we have a page created, and one thing you want to note is we have the URL, which is /notes. Don't worry about the hashtag there, that's just addition. We won't need that. So /notes. So now we want to be able to edit our contact and about menu. So to do that is you don't actually see a cog appear there, so that means we have to just go another way, which is still easy enough. So we go under Site Settings and click Structure, and in there you'll see a link for menus. Click that, and then under that we're looking for it's called a secondary navigation. So we want to go ahead and list links there, and then you'll see that we have those two in there. Well, we can click that blue button to add another link, and we're gonna call this one Notes. And again, remember our path is just Notes, all lowercase. And we don't have to worry about setting anything else. So we'll scroll down and click Save. Once we do that, we'll be able to see that it appears now in the list. So we can go Notes, Contact, and About. We can obviously switch that order by just dragging them around if we wanted. So we'll say Notes we want second, and then we're going to close this, refresh the page, and now you'll see that Notes now appears, and it also shows as active, being a white background versus a gray background. So anyway, those are two different ways that you can add links to pages that you create on your site. You can either do it using the cog feature or going under Site Settings and then Structure.